out here making these PFF power rankings because it has to stop. It has to get better. In this video, I'm going to react to quite possibly some of the worst power rankings I have ever laid my two eyes on in this video. PFF's post-draft 2023 power rankings. Now, you guys know my power rankings. You know what I think of your team and where I would rank your team. So this isn't just me reacting. I actually have evidence of what I think out there, so we can compare and contrast. This PFF thing, sometimes they're out there, man, but let's just get to it. I can't explain it anymore. So Gronk, spike that like button, and let's discuss these power rankings, because, bro, they are wild. Here they are, the vaunted Pro Football Focus power rankings post-draft. Let me know your thoughts on these absolutely wild power rankings. Let's begin, of course, at the top. Now, obviously, at the top of the list, I don't have a lot of issues. You rank the Kansas City Chiefs first, okay? I'm not going to have a lot of issues with that. They won the Super Bowl. They have the best player in football. They have Travis Kelce, Andy Reid. No problems. They won the Super Bowl. At number 2, I think the Philadelphia Eagles right now are overrated. I do. Now, do I think they're still really good? Yes, I do. I agree. But the Philadelphia Eagles lost, in my opinion, their best secondary player, their best defensive lineman in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Javon Hargrave. And then on top of that, they lost both of their coordinators. So yes, I understand they added some nice players through the draft, but I only feel like Jalen Carter will be super impactful out of this draft class for the Eagles. I like what they did at running back, but they are getting very old in certain spots on defense, defensive line, cornerback, and I'm concerned about that defense entering this year. I think they're going to take a step back. At number 3, the 49ers. 49ers, I understand why they're in the top 3. I just have concerns about the quarterback situation, given the fact that we don't know if Brock Purdy's going to start the year. And I do think there's a gap between Purdy and whoever else they play. I will say I'm more confident in Sam Darnold than Trey Lance, absolutely. So if their reasoning for putting them at number 3 is that Trey Lance is going to do something, please let it go. Okay, like Frozen, let it go. Thank you. At number 4, the Bengals, I think, are a little underrated. Again, no major issues here. These teams all deserve to be in the top 5, but a little bit underrated. Joe Burrow, great receiving core, been there, done that mentality and resume. They've gone to the AFC Championship 2 years in a row in the more competitive conference, everyone says, right? So they should be higher, in my opinion. Then on top of that, they got better and deeper at corner. They got better and deeper on the defensive line, 2 very important positions. So I think the Bengals should be a little higher. Also, their offensive line's better too. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills. Okay, that's fine. I mean, you may be overrating them a little bit, but I don't think it's anything crazy. They deserve to be here. At number 6, the New York Jets. The first team that you really see on this list where it's like, that's bold. Like, that is a projection completely because, yeah, they have Aaron Rodgers. Very good defense. Now, I will say about that defense, is it the best defense in the division? Because New England was better across the board last year, at least statistically speaking. Now, I will say that the Jets had some really good moments defensively last year, but there was games like the Jacksonville game where they let me down. They didn't come through with a big performance. There were games like the Vikings game where they didn't come through. Like some big games where I think they underwhelmed, and I think it's because of their scheme. I'm not a fan of their coaches. I don't like their offensive coordinator, Hackett. We saw the absolute show he put on in Denver. And then Robert Saleh, everyone says I hate on him. I don't like his decision-making in games, especially late in games. And I think his scheme is absolutely vanilla. I don't like much about the guy other than his personality, and that's fine. And I do question the offensive line, and I question the weaponry. Like, I think the weaponry outside of Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, who's also coming back from an injury, is a little, like, overrated. I don't even know if Corey Davis is going to be around there. So the Jets is a huge projection. I think they could easily make the playoffs and make a run, don't get me wrong, but I think they very easily at the same time could finish last in their division without a doubt, okay? So at number 7, the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're extremely underrated by just about everybody, other than Cowboys fans and me. Like, I think the Cowboys are extremely overlooked, and it's only because nobody wants to be bold with Dallas because they continuously let us down in January. And I understand that, and I understand that hesitation. But if you're looking at teams, and you're looking at offense, quarterback, defense, you're looking at the best defense in football, in my opinion, when you're talking about pass defense, pass rush, and then you've got a team that can run the ball, throw the ball. It's got 3 good receivers, got a good offensive line, got a dynamic running back. There's nothing that Dallas is missing to not be, in my opinion, ahead of the Jets, ahead of Buffalo, at the very least on this list. Everyone else I can understand. At number 8, the Chargers, extremely overrated for one reason and one reason only, Brandon Staley. I know that Pro Football Focus, a big Brandon Staley fan. Personally, I am not, because the guy blows games. We saw it in the playoffs. And he makes terrible in-game management. He doesn't really have the charisma to me. He doesn't come across as a great leader. I have a lot of issues. They get hurt a lot. I think Justin Herbert has been good, but he has never proven just yet, as much as I think he's very talented. He has not proven to be on that level that people put him on, that pedestal people put him on. And then you're talking about, I think, a defense that can't stop the run still. So until they prove that, they're not going to be in my top 10. At number 9, this one is wild. The Cleveland Browns. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that if Deshaun Watson is really what we think he can be, that they might be a top 10 team. And if that's what you're projecting here, based on your explanation, you don't say that. But I will say that I can see it. But at the same time, I think Kevin Stefanski, I've definitely lowered my thoughts on him. Like, his offense is very, very kind of vanilla. Again, like run, play action. The drop back passing game is not very dynamic or creative. The defense, I think, is fine. They've got Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward. They added Juan Thornhill and Dalvin Tomlinson. Really like those pickups. But I think their defense is okay. I think they'll be better than last year because I think they brought in a better coach. The offensive line's great. The running back's great. All that. I love Amari Cooper. But I don't know, man. I could see them making the playoffs. I just don't see a ton of upside because I think their defense is capped, and I feel like their offensive scheme caps their potential, if you understand what I'm saying. At number 10, the Ravens are definitely better than the Browns. They have a better coach. They have a better quarterback, without question. They have just as good of a receiving core. If you consider the whole package of weapons, I think it's a better receiving core with Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and all the receivers they have to offer. And then you're talking about a defense that's easily better when you just base off last year's results, where Baltimore, by the end of the year, a lot of people overlook what they were putting out, but they might have been the best defense in the NFL over the last 6 to 7 weeks of the season. So I think the Ravens are easily better than the Cleveland Browns. The Miami Dolphins at 11 seems about right. I'm not going to get too mad at that. It's kind of weird that I have them maybe ahead of a team like Cleveland, and PFF doesn't, but I'm not going to get mad at their spot on the list. I think that's about fair. Now, obviously, if Tua is a problem for me. If he gets hurt again, obviously they're going to move down the list. At number 12, Jacksonville. I think this is a fair ranking. Now, for me, they ranked higher, and the reason for that is because I think they're definitively the most talented team in their division with the best quarterback, but I can understand why they're at 12. They only won 9 games last year, so it's certainly understandable. I think they have a lot more potential than number 12. Number 13, I think the Giants are overrated on this list. I think the Giants, when you look at regression candidates, they're at the top of the list. Their fumble luck, their wins in close games was absurd. I think they had a lot go their way in the right way. They kind of caught a vibe, and they just continued to tear off wins. But I don't think they're taking anybody by surprise this year. Giants fans may be upset to hear that, and I do hope the Giants do well. I like their coaching staff. I like Saquon a lot. But I just don't see it this year. I don't see them being a contender. I think they're on that second tier, and there's AFC teams that are better. I think the Vikings are extremely overrated. I mean, their defense stinks. I understand Brian Flores is there now, but their defense is awful. They can't stop a nosebleed, okay? And their offense, Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison, okay. Maybe Addison could be better, but I don't know. I like their offense, but I don't think it's like elite. It's really good. I think it's at least top 10, but I don't know. I don't see how this team replicates last year. I will say that. At number 15, they have the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions are better than the Vikings, in my opinion. I'd have them higher. I don't really see that without hesitation. I mean, their offenses are both really good. I think Detroit's defense is more talented. I think it's better. And I think they actually probably were the better team by the end of last year, despite the record. At number 16, the Seahawks are extremely underrated on this list. Seattle is a really good football team. I don't understand why everyone is sleeping on them. They've got a evolving offensive line. Geno Smith is legit. I don't want to hear it. Kenneth Walker is an absolute alpha male. Their receiving core is one of the best in football. And their defense, I think, is going to grow exponentially this year. Getting back Bobby Wagner, Devin Witherspoon in the draft, and improved pass rush with Draymond Jones. This team's legit, and they got legit coaching. Pittsburgh Steelers at 17 is about where I would rank them. I think I have some teams that are below them a little bit higher. Packers, I think, is absurdly high. Understand that the Packers have been good over the years, and Matt LaFleur, I think PFF loves him. I don't really see it the same way. I think he's an offensive play caller. He's not a great head coach. I think we're going to see that this year. He doesn't have a grasp on all three phases, in my opinion. The defense is poorly coached. It's an average defense because of that, even though it has talent, and actually lost talent this offseason. And then offensively, they have nothing. Other than Christian Watson and their running backs, they have nothing. So I don't get the Packers at 18. I think they're a bottom 10 team. The Bears this is laughable. I mean, this is LOL, LMFAO, like ridiculous. Like the Bears' defensive line is putrid. Their offensive line needs to prove it, but they should be improved. Justin Fields is probably the most overrated player in all of football right now. I said it. Period. And then their coaching staff, I don't know enough information. I need more. I don't think they're deserve to be here at all. I don't get it. How are they better than the Patriots? Somebody let me know. I know I'm a Pats fan, but I think that's ludicrous. Like, New England has a top 5 defense. That might be being conservative, by the way. They have a top 5 coach. They have a pretty solid offensive line. I think it improved this year, especially depth-wise. They don't have a number 1 playmaker, but they've got good receivers across the board, good tight end, good running back, very good running back. And I think Mack, with a proper OC, is going to have a good year, just as he did as a rookie. And their special team is going to be better because it was the worst in football last year. So this team won 8 games despite all the bonanza that was last year, and we're putting the Chicago Bears above the New England Patriots. That is not very wise, in my opinion. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as much as I would love for them to be the 21st best team, I could understand from a roster standpoint why they would be here, but I'm not buying that they're the 21st team in the NFL, just because I think going from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield is a huge downgrade. I think their offensive line needs to answer a lot of questions. They had a historically bad running game last year, and their defense is very inconsistent. So 21 seems, and their coach, I don't know. So, yeah, I don't get that. I think Washington is a better team than Tampa Bay. Quarterbacks are about the same, but I think Washington has probably a better offense. And then defensively, I think their front is really, really good. I could see they're about similar, but I would put Washington above them. Denver, I'd have them above just simply for Sean Payton. I think they're talented enough to be above the teams that they're below there. I think they should be about 20, but that I'm not going to super complain. Tennessee's 1 spot lower, I think, than I had them, maybe 2 spots lower. The Titans, for me, I feel like everyone's been underrating them. PFF at least gives them a tad bit of respect. Like, I've been seeing people put them as top 5 pick in the draft. I disagree with that, for sure. 25 is the Raiders. That's actually exactly where I had them. Maybe for slightly different reasons, but I totally get it. Saints, don't understand how they're below the Bucks. Like, someone explain that to me. I don't know if they're just going off standings from last year. Like, I really have no idea what this is. Like, how can you have the Saints with Derek Carr, that defense, even if they might not have the defensive line as before, and then the weapons they have, how are they below the Bucs? Like, I don't know. That's a head scratching. Atlanta, I think, is extremely underrated. I understand Desmond Ridder, but other than that, they improved their defense. Their offensive line is one of the best in football. They've got a great running game, a good coach, in my opinion. They've got a lot of things you like. Kyle Pitts and Drake London. 28, the Panthers is insane. Like, I don't know how the Panthers are 28th in the NFL. This is just dumb. Like, I don't know what to say. Dumb. They've got a good offensive line. They have a really good defense, a lot of talent, a lot of young talent. Bryce Young, if you think he's the best quarterback in the draft, I don't know how they're at 28. I don't understand that. I like their coaching staff too. I think they've upgraded immensely there. So that makes no sense. Colts at 29 is fine. I'm not going to get mad at that. 30, the Rams, I understand it. I'd maybe put a little bit more respect on the name of Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. But other than that, I mean, I get it. They don't have a lot of talent. 31, the Texans is fine. I'm not going to get mad at that. And then at number 32, you're correct. Arizona is the worst team by far, and any idiot could get that right. But as you guys can see, this is horrendous. Like, this list sucks. I don't know what PFF is doing over there. I really do not know what PFF is smoking. But they need to hit me up real quick, okay? Because I don't know what you guys thought of that list. I thought there was good things, don't get me wrong. But man, I don't know if they're just basing it off the standings. Like, they have to be. That bottom 10 is just craziness. How do you have the Panthers and the Saints in the bottom 5 in the NFL? I don't know. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on that power rankings. You guys let me know, man. Is PFF right or wrong or what? Peace.